Hello and welcome to WTNB Today. I'm your host, Wendy Benton. Thank you for joining me. I have with me today Josiah Basharis. He is the Executive Director of CASA of Bradley County. Josiah, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Wendy, and great job on the name pronunciation. I'm very impressed.
I practiced.
Yeah.
And you know I did.
Quite impressed, yeah, absolutely. Great
I
job.
wanted to make sure I got that right.
Spot on.
Well, we want to talk about one of the best kept secrets in Bradley County. Those were your words, and CASA. It's really something that I think all of our community needs to be aware of, and the job that you guys do, because it is so vitally important to our children.
Couldn't agree more, Wendy. Somebody told me that as soon as I took this position, that it was one of the best kept secrets in Bradley County. Because of the vital nature of the work that we do, we're working to change that now. We advocate for children in abuse and neglect situations who are in our court systems, and we make sure that they have a voice in a very difficult time in their life. We're really working to get the word out about that.
Well, tell us what it stands for and when it started.
CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. It's a national organization that started in 1977 in Seattle, Washington. How it started was a judge was making vital decisions on child welfare with little to no information to go on. So his solution was to enlist trained volunteers to speak for the needs of these children in these very difficult situations. And from that, it's actually grown to a national ministry with a local chapter, but also almost 1,000 chapters nationwide.
That's amazing. And how long have you been in Bradley County?
CASA's been in Bradley County for around 5 years now. Okay. Still looking to build the ministry. We also serve Polk County as well. That's another fact that a lot of people don't know. Our service there has been more recent, within the past couple of years.
Okay. And when you say you're a child advocate, what does that mean exactly?
Well, it means that our motto is "We are for the child," Wendy. If our viewers take one thing away, I'd like them to know that at CASA, we are for the child. And what we do as advocates is we speak for the needs of the children in these situations. It's a case-by-case basis. The duties vary individually, case by case, and so do the recommendations. What we do is we go into the home, we speak with the child, we speak with all parties involved in difficult situations, and then we make fact-based recommendations to the judge so that he or she is able to make an informed decision about these children's future and about, quite frankly, the future of these families. But it's very important to note that we work for the child. Each adult party has an opportunity to enlist their own legal representation, but we work strictly from the perspective of the child and make sure that that voice is heard in court.
And you mentioned you have your goal of CASA. It's twofold.
Yes, it's twofold. What it is to provide the judge with information to make an informed decision like we talked about. And the second goal is really to ensure that these children have a stable placement long term. Our mission is to work tirelessly until each child has a safe and loving family and a place to call home.
And you also mentioned that you all don't actually, you're not actively looking for families that provide the foster care. You work in partnership.
You're correct. We're a piece of the child welfare puzzle. We work with the Department of Children's Services, other nonprofit agencies in town, and of course the court system. The court system in Bradley County obviously has the goal of providing the most safe and permanent placement for the child. But our role in this, again, is to look, once a petition comes before the court, to look at all the circumstances, all the possible placements, and determine from a fact-based, child-based perspective, what's the safest placement for these children? What's the most permanent option? Where are they going to thrive the most? That's our role in the situation. And we come before the court and make a report with recommendations that reflect our findings.
And you also maintain that relationship as they're in foster care for a period of time.
Correct, Wendy. We serve children that are both in the foster care system and out in private custody cases. But once the child enters the foster care, we continue our role and continue to work through that process with the child, make sure that they know that we're a resource that's available to them. We check in on their circumstances, we attend the meetings and the family conferences that go along with that, and we make sure that always the child's voice is being heard through that process. We want to walk through that with the children. It's very important.
Right. And one thing that kind of blew me away a little bit is how many kids you serve.
Yes, it is an incredible accomplishment of the agency locally that we served 179 new children. Last year, we got 179 new referrals, and we monitored, which means we checked in and made sure that everything was all right and everything was stable with over 200 more children. It's a great accomplishment, but it speaks to a really ugly reality. And that's that 1,200 children, more than 1,200 children in 2014, according to Kids Count data, in Bradley County alone, were in the court system primarily as a result of abuse or neglect. And in our other county of service, Polk County, that number was above 180. It's a national trend that really needs to be combated, and that's the reason for the CASA programs nationwide. It's the reason for all the focus on child welfare. But every day in the United States, over 1,900 children will become victims of abuse or neglect. It's a hard reality to confront, but the only way that we're going to be able to help combat this long term is to look it dead in the eye and do everything that we can to
Absolutely.
take it on straight forward.
Yes. Well, and you guys are not attorneys.
No, we're not. That's correct. Yeah. We work alongside attorneys, and even guardian ad litems are often assigned to the case with us. Guardian ad litem basically means attorney for the child. But the cool thing about CASA is that we actually serve in the guardian ad litem capacity without being attorneys as well. Our statute that allows us to work and be appointed to cases allows us to work in that capacity and help speak for the needs of the children in these situations, even though our advocates, some of them could be attorneys, but you do not have to be an attorney to be a CASA advocate.
And you're here today just to promote that part of your organization. You know, you need advocates and
Yes.
people that will stand in and help these children.
Yes, absolutely. We definitely need folks to step into that role. We need individuals who are willing to serve in a variety of capacities, but the advocate role is really what helps CASA succeed in each community that it's a part of nationally. The advocate role is the driving force in CASA's success. So in order to continue to advocate for the number of children that we have in the past, and our program has steadily grown, in order to continue that growth, obviously we need the help of the people in this community. And the response has been fantastic since I've been able to step into this role. But we need to continue to build that. We need to get that whole best kept secret thing out of the way and let people know that there is a way to be hands-on and help the children in this community that are some of the most vulnerable children that we have.
Yes. Does anyone need to have particular skills to be an advocate?
The skill set that you need is really just to be able to socially interact positively with others, and you need to have a great presence about you that allows you to come into a situation and not be judgmental, be able to facilitate a positive interaction with families and with children, to be able to relate to children. All we ask is that our advocates buy into the mission. Really, everyone can be a part of CASA. We do have a training program that advocates have to complete before they ever take their first case. This ensures that they are ready and able to complete all the duties of a CASA. But we've actually started an independent study format with that training. So you don't even need to have as much time as you used to be a CASA. We want to make that opportunity available to working adults, and we have working adult volunteers already, but we want to make the program more accessible because we believe it's a really awesome outreach ministry.
Yes. Now, your next training session begins pretty soon.
March 1st,
Okay.
yeah. And we're going to have more training opportunities throughout the year, but the next one does come up March 1st. And what we'll do as part of that training is we'll have 3 in-person meetings, and we'll sit down, we'll have dinner, we'll discuss what we've studied independently as a group. It'll be kind of a cohort fashion. It'll be down at our offices, and we'll make sure that everyone's on the same page, that everyone is grasping the material. But then after that, the big thing that we'll do is we'll make sure that our advocates, our new advocates, have time to put hands on the role and shadow an existing case manager, shadow an existing advocate so that they're not thrown into the fire immediately and they're comfortable with this very important role.
Right. Well, and if anyone's interested in becoming an advocate or a volunteer,
yes,
even you had mentioned that as well, how do they get in touch with you?
They're more than welcome to call our offices, 423-472-5800. You can go on our website, www.casabp.org. You're more than welcome to call me, email me, josiah@casabp.org. We would love to talk with you about all the opportunities we have. Even if someone isn't able to serve in the advocate capacity, we can definitely find a way for them to help. We need all kinds to make this ministry keep on working.
Well, it's a wonderful organization, and just to be that special advocate for these children that don't have a voice and somehow ended up in this situation it is just crucial. Like you said, it's vitally important for their growth and for them to be healthy and to get them out of an abusive situation.
It's quite a fulfilling role. The abuse and neglect spectrum is broad, and the severity also varies as well. So sometimes you have advocates who are working in a situation where a child, the allegations are relatively mild, but the judge wants to be very careful and make sure that we're putting them in a positive situation, and make sure that that's well taken care of. But it's an incredibly fulfilling role, and the mission is really vital to this community. I believe that we play an important role in making sure that our children are safe.
Yes, yes. Well, and you said you and your wife are looking into being foster parents. I think you do a great job. You've got such a heart for this.
Well, I appreciate it. They'd be lucky to have my wife, and maybe they'd put up with me, right?
That's right. Well, I know where your heart is, and they would just have a great environment to grow up in.
Thank you, Wendy. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for being with me today and sharing your story and what CASA is all about with our viewers, and we want to make a difference in this community.
Well, we just so appreciate the opportunity to come on here and be a part of this show and get the word out. So thank you. Love to come back anytime you'd have us.
Yes, well, we would love for you to be back, and you'll be back too for the run in October, and
yes.
Maybe somewhere in between there.
Absolutely. We'll come back and talk about the Militia Gibson Walk in October
yes.
when it comes up. That'd be great.
Yes, that's good. Thank you so much, and thank you for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed today's segment with Josiah and learned a little bit more about what CASA does in our community and how important that it is. And if you're interested in being an advocate, please get in touch with them or even just to volunteer. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time on WTNB Today.